Guys, happy summer. Huh? How's the summer going? Right?
It's so nice. It's so summery.
It's really summery
so
and hot.
summery. We're doing a summer podcast.
Yeah, this podcast today is going to be hot, hot, hot.
Sorry about your mouth, Sean.
Jesus, fuck, dude.
Sorry.
Somebody punch you in the mouth before we start? Oh, no, you're eating. Sorry, silly me.
Oh my God, look at my microphone.
Ew, there's tuna all over your microphone foam.
Welcome to SmartLess.
SmartLess.
Hi, JB.
Hi, JB.
Sean, I mean...
Hey, wait. Let me just say this. Let me just say this. JB, it's 9:30. It's morning where you are. Sean and I are in the East Coast.
Yeah.
So, what time are you up today to get prepared for your day?
I got up at 7 today.
Mm-hmm.
You get up early every day.
I do.
Well, 7's not early. Let's be clear.
No,
think
it's
it
usually
is.
6 or 6:30. Today was a little bit later. I'm still battling. I'm long hauling something. It's not COVID.
Uh-huh.
It's some sort of a head cold, kind of
Really?
sinus thing. Little coffee, little sniffly. Like I beat it, and then 48 hours later, it came back. What is that?
Well, you're not the first person in your house to beat it. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
The
We
first
love
owner.
that song over here.
That's true. Wait, but it's not COVID. You're not sick.
I mean, I'm sick, but I'm not. I haven't tested, but
You haven't tested.
maybe I should.
You know, it's so weird. I just got back. I go do physical therapy, and a friend of mine at that office, he was trying to get a tick out of his daughter's arm, and he squeezed the tick, and it busted open and squirted in his eye, and he got COVID from it. It's true. I swear to God, that's a true story.
Wait.
He literally just told me like an hour ago.
Hang on.
Wait
so,
a second.
COVID. Yeah. So ticks carry COVID now too, right next to their briefcase full of Lyme's disease.
Yeah, no, I don't know. He said he got home. His wife, nobody wanted to deal with the tick on his daughter's arm, so he squeezed it and it squirted in his eye.
Well, maybe he got COVID from his COVID-infested daughter instead of the tick. The tick can't carry two briefcases full of virus.
Who knows?
This sounds like a pretty elaborate way to make an excuse for something that he's obviously leading like a double life. And so what he did was,
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, yeah, I squeezed the tick, and then the tick got on my eye, honey. Anyway, that's why
He's
I didn't
dating
come
a
home
woman
last
that's a
night.
long hauler. Yeah.
The tick squirted in his eye.
By the way, it should be noted also that that Amanda, you can't tell Amanda that story. She's so tick nervous.
I know.
Every
Ticked
time
off.
we talk about the East Coast, we
Gets
talk
ticked
about
off.
going to see friends. She gets very ticked off. She talks about going to visit friends in Martha's Vineyard or coming to see us out here, and she's all about the ticks.
You guys talk amongst yourselves. I need water.
Oh,
Okay. This is the first.
He just gets up and goes, oh,
I know.
He's coughing up a storm out there.
He really is. Well, we're getting all of this. This is good. If you're a doctor and you're out there, please
Well,
just
here's
listen
the
back.
thing.
Yeah.
Boy, you know, you go 8 million miles an hour, kind of like I do a little bit, and you never get sick. I never see you sick. I saw you sick last year, maybe once.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about it. I mean, I don't want to tempt fate, but I am pretty good about staying.
Yeah.
Well, I
Although,
don't know.
Jason, you never really get sick either.
Jason never gets sick either, ever.
No, I really don't. I don't. But you know, I'm fired up, guys. I'm excited to be smartlessing today. Are you guys ready to smartless?
Are you,
I'm
so
introducing it as a verb.
are you getting your SmartLess on?
I'm trying to fire up. I'm trying to fire up here, you know?
Yeah. Hey, I'm glad that you're really excited to be here today and to be SmartLessing. And you mentioned because we have a guest, because we don't just have a guest, we have an incredible guest today.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because
Can we vote on that after the guest is revealed?
sure. But you know who has voted on this guest?
Oh, America.
America.
The world.
The Academy Awards has nominated this person 3 times, and she's won
Tighten up, Sean.
for Best Actress.
Just stood up. I stood up all straight.
Nominated 2 other times. I mean, she's won Golden Globes.
So she's 1 for 3.
She's won everything. She's won every possible award, been nominated multiple times for do you like the Golden Globes or the, theater awards or Tony Awards or
The theater awards? Is that what they're called?
Academy
Awards.
Award, winning Academy Award. Once I start listing her credits, you're going to go, oh yeah, and I know exactly what this is, because these are movies that you like. They're
not blood.
movies like
Am I going to go, oh my God.
Zero Dark 30 or The Eyes of Tammy Faye or...
This is Jessica Chastain.
This is Jessica Chastain.
Wait, are you
Bring her
joking
on.
me?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Do I take it off now?
There she is.
Wait a minute. What? This is
Hey,
insane.
guys.
Well,
This
now,
is crazy. I just saw you yesterday.
I know, it's insane.
Okay.
Congratulations, darling.
Thank you, honey. I was really
Sean,
rooting for you. I was rooting for
congratulations.
you.
I mean,
Now, I know you don't want
let's-
to talk about it, Sean, but it's a big deal. Congratulations. It's
Thank
a
you,
big,
honey. Thank you.
big
I
deal.
mean, how amazing to be on that journey with you the whole time.
Aw.
It was so great.
We had one event where we were just mouthing words to each other the whole time to try to save our voices.
And then I left. And
And then you left early.
So, listener, we have we're taping this at a time that is just after Sean's win at the Tony Awards. So
Yes.
we're trying not to talk about that because this is delayed. But given
I get
that,
it. Okay, we're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, but since you guys are both, they're in the midst of it right now. It just ended, listener. So we apologize for being a little bit late.
If you
here
saw
with
But we
us.
can still talk
Yeah.
about the experience that
Yeah.
because it was weird, not the experience of that, but the theater experience for people who are listening. Jessica's theater was literally right next to mine. So
Yeah,
every
we're right
single
next
day I
door.
got shut off. I'm like, there's Jessica Chastain starring in A Doll's House, and there's Sean Hayes starring. It was
Could
really,
you guys
really
ever
cool.
hear each other's show while you're performing?
No, but the
wish.
line to get in was always mixed. It was like, you don't know if people were in line for your show or my
really?
show because always
Yeah.
mixed up. Yeah, it was really cool.
And people waiting outside afterwards. So my stage door was on 45th Street, which is the back of the theater. And your stage door was on 44th.
Fourth.
But so my car was on the other side. And
Oh,
so
that's
every
a
time
nice-
I would leave, I would see all of the people waiting outside for you. It was very sweet.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's fun, right? Kind of, you guys are like in this, your own little sort of in that world and feeling like you're really part of a community and kind of in the trenches together in a way.
Yeah,
Is there-
and
is there a
also,
vibe
yeah,
about it?
right? It was also nice
Yeah.
to just have a comrade to go through it with, right?
Yeah,
Now, do you guys have
Completely.
free tickets to each other's show, or do you have to pay
Great
for those?
Well,
question.
the thing is, we can't see each other's show because we're performing at the same time.
Yeah.
But now I
You guys
closed.
have the same days off?
You closed.
Yeah,
you
the same day. We had Mondays off. I closed. And so now, I'm after a week in Tahiti.
She'll be there tonight, Sean.
A week,
I'm going to come
Right.
see everything.
a week in Tahiti. That sounds
Yeah.
so good.
I need a complete reversal of location where I just
That's
was.
about the opposite.
Although that does
right
sound
there.
like a play as well. A week in Tahiti. That could
It's a
be
one act,
right.
Yeah.
Jessica's return to Broadway.
Maybe that should just be the title of my autobiography, A Week in Tahiti.
Have you been there before to Tahiti?
I have, but I went. A friend of mine invited me during COVID, and he had a boat there. So I basically was just in the water of Tahiti, but we didn't
Very
go to
nice.
land. 'cause
You're
of
going to
COVID.
strike land this time.
I am. I'm very excited.
Are you exhausted from doing 8 shows a
Oh
week?
my
I'm
God.
sure.
I don't know if
And
you
it's
can
over.
tell. My voice is like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I've been taking all these immunity medicines and stuff because I just feel like any second my body's going to go, all right, now's
Send
the
me what you
time. I'm
haven't
going to
used.
kick your ass.
Well, let me ask you. I'm going to ask you that because we've been going through this with Sean. I feel like we're all on this journey
For
with Sean,
24
Jason,
years.
and I are. Yeah, but Jessica, tell me if you have and this actually goes to both of you guys. You know that what you're about to embark on when you're going to do a play on Broadway is going to be really demanding in a lot of different ways, but especially physically. And so you prep yourself, I imagine, like you get yourself up. You're like, okay, here we go. We're going to do this. I'm going to be fine. And then what is the point when you start doing it, you go like, oh my God, this is way worse than I thought it was. Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? Is it a month?
Oh gosh, after the first week of previews for me, at one point I went to the director and I said, I don't think this is sustainable. I don't understand this level of motion. I don't think it's sustainable. And he's like, no, you can do it. That was just his response to every time I was like, are you sure you could do it? I'm like, okay.
How long did you do your show?
We did 137 performances.
Wow.
But my show also, it was pretty emotional. There
Yeah.
was heavy crying for like an hour each show. So it definitely is not something, we're going to do it again somewhere. I'll have another life next year, but in very short, much shorter runs because otherwise I'll lose my mind.
Can you flick the switch on crying pretty easy, or is it a big
Yeah.
process for you? Some people it's easy.
No, I'm like, the kids when they do, I always think about this with my kids, is when I see them playing, they absolutely believe what they're doing. They're
Right.
so in it when they're
Yeah.
like, at school they call it dramatic play. And I kind of feel like that's just what happens is I'm in the scene and then I just believe it's happening.
Right. And the tears come.
Sometimes if the mood is right, Scotty and I call it role playing. instead of dramatic.
That's definitely for a different show.
And then you believe it's happening, Sean. You believe it.
I do.
I didn't order this pizza. Well, what do you mean? Are you not hungry?
I didn't say you could just come into my apartment, but you're here
this,
now.
This is a meat lover's pizza. I'm confused.
I love meat. Do you find that like you spend all this emotion, like you're on stage, you're bawling for an hour, and then you get home into your life and stuff happens and you've got no emotion left for anything else? Like,
no, in fact, I'm like the opposite, which probably my poor family and friends have been so sweet with me. I just become so kind of raw that I'm like a little bit like a baby, where like things that shouldn't make me emotional make me emotional, and it's just I start to feel like I'm losing my mind, which is why now I'm looking forward to another Zero Dark 30, like playing a character who really doesn't. Am I allowed to cuss on this? I mean, I've heard before, right? Yes. A woman who doesn't give a shit, just is like she's just walking through. I need to play that next.
I love that you asked if you could cuss. You're the first
I just wanna be respectful
respectful guest we've had.
Was it always part of your life growing up too? Were you, and as a kid, were you in high school?
It was. My grandma took me to see a play when I was 7. I didn't have the easiest of, childhoods in some sense because we were, I was raised by a single mom and she really struggled a lot financially and I was kind of an angry kid a lot. And so my grandma took me to this show at the Music Circus Theater in Sacramento, California. It was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Awesome.
Sure.
And there was and she told me because it was a big deal. It was a professional show. She kept saying that this was their job, these actors. And then it started and there was a little girl on stage and I was like, oh, this is what I am. It wasn't a sense of like, this is what I want to be. I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And then I just spent like, my poor mom was like, can you bring me to LA to audition for commercials? Like from that moment on.
Wait, how old were you when your grandma took you to that?
7.
Yeah, because I saw a chorus line when I was 10, and I always wish I'd seen it earlier, like when I was like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh my God. Wonderful.
I had to recycle that.
5, 6, 7, 8.
He can set himself up and hit it all in the same one.
That was really good.
I'm so happy about that.
He's like on a one-man volleyball team. He lobs it and then he spikes it himself. But I do want to say, you know what's interesting? It occurs to me how many kids their first introduction to theater is Joseph in the Technicolor Coat.
I know, right?
Right?
Totally,
I mean, that's like the sort of
That's
the gateway. One of them.
Because it's like safe for high schools to do, and it's safe for like
kids. A lot of kids go and see. They'll go see it with their family, or they'll go see it with their school, or like in. My question is, do we need to update
what that is?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what happens in the show. That's the sad thing. I think that's the one and only time I ever saw it.
You know what? It was the first play I think I saw.
Oh, really?
Is the reason I brought it up. Yeah.
I saw it in black and white, though.
Oh, no.
What was the one with the roller skating? Starlight Express?
Yes.
Remember that one way back when? Yeah, I think that was my first one. And then
Was it really?
Cats. Then there was some cats.
Roller skating.
Yeah.
Cats.
Wait, and a lot of siblings, Jess, in your family, or just you?
2 boys and 2 girls.
Oh wow! And anybody else?
I was the oldest.
You're one of 5.
Yeah, one of 5.
Wow.
And your youngest?
My youngest brother is 24.
Oh, so are you in the middle?
I'm the oldest.
No, she's oldest.
Oh, you're the oldest. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now what? Now so then the acting, was it something that came because you started so early? Was it something that came very naturally to you, or did you start training early on?
It's something. It was because I went to public schools. I just remember like they would assign the plays in schools to the people who got really good grades, and I didn't get good grades. No. So it was always like the person on the side or holding the tree or whatever. And then when we got to
holding the tree.
Not even the tree, just holding the tree.
I know, just like holding it up. And then we got to middle school, and it was the first time we started like, having a class, the elective, where you could choose what class you wanted. And I chose the drama class. And then, that's when I really started doing stuff. I actually won a monologue competition, and I have the little trophy for it. And I actually it's like that to me is the sweetest things in my house because I think I was like 12 or 13, and it was a big deal. It was the first time I was like, wow, people think I'm good at this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you know what's interesting though? So you grew up in Sacramento, not exactly like a hotbed for theater, and right. But you go, you see that play. Like, how do you make that leap from being a little girl in Sacramento who sees a play and is super interested, saying that's me, to I don't want to jump all the way to becoming an Academy Award-winning actress, but like, what's that first move? You're like in Sacramento, like, I got to go from here to what?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was going, I had no idea because I don't know anyone in the industry.
Yeah.
And again, it was it was a tough situation, at home. And I was doing a lot of community theater and working at Sac City College doing like their Shakespeare. I think I did Taming of the Shrew and all of this stuff. And then I actually dropped out of high school, which is crazy.
Wow.
I dropped out of high school. I had to take PE twice. And I think I didn't graduate because I missed, because I failed PE twice.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Because I had no interest in like doing
Running.
pull-ups and like, I just had like, no. And I was reading, Shakespeare in cutting class to read. I was such a nerd.
Wow.
I'm probably, I can't even understand it. But I dropped out and then I started working and I did some regional theater. I played Juliet at Theater Works in Silicon Valley. And then the guy who was playing Romeo got into Juilliard. And I was like, I don't think he's that much better than me. I was like, maybe I could go.
Right.
So
And did you?
I did.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It changed my life.
Wait, going back to high school, I remember in my high school there was a thing called like the debate team it was called forensics.
I did
And
that.
of course you did, because like everybody I knew in high school did it. I didn't do it, and it freaked me out because
What
people
is
were.
it, Sean?
It's like when you are in a debate team and they teach you how to debate, like improv debate, right?
Right.
And
No,
and
they
the
don't.
People, yes, they do.
Sorry.
No, and it freaked me out. It was my first experience watching kids my age face a wall and talk to the wall because they would be rehearsing.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
are they crazy? Like it was
An
like
audition lobby.
it was like a mental institution, and it was
And also
wild.
different voices because you play different characters and they narrate and they,
Yeah, it was wild.
How funny, by the way, for the listener, how funny, and you guys can attest to this, Jason just said audition lobby is like when you remember going to like into a casting office and everybody's holding their sides and people are like find like a little corner or they're sitting on the edge of a chair and they're just going, I don't know. Going over their things, going over their beats, going over what
Practicing their faces.
Yeah, their faces, their thing that they like, their little angle, their little beat that they've got on the thing that they're going to do.
And then you get older and you do it like the four of us as a profession, and then you find yourself doing it, and you're like, oh, well, now it's not so weird because I'm doing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like the
So
only thing.
Jessica, so you were all in. So you go to Juilliard. There was no other sort of like, you didn't go to like a college where you had, well, I'll major in drama, but I'll minor in business or something like
but
that. There
JB, I'll interrupt to say also, not just that, Jessica, didn't you get the Robin Williams scholarship at Juilliard as well?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was actually a huge deal financially for us because he went to Juilliard and he was, from everyone, that talks about him, such a generous human being. Oh. And he gave the scholarship every 2 years and it basically, it paid for everything. It didn't just pay for tuition, it paid for my apartment, it paid for me to fly back and forth to go see my family at Christmas. It paid for food. It was a ginormous help.
He was an incredibly generous guy. Did you guys know Robin a little bit?
I met him
only
once.
shook his hand once. Yeah.
He was such I had the pleasure of spending a little bit of time with him over the years a few times, and he was an incredibly generous, sweet guy. I mean, and anytime you check in with anybody who knows him, so it doesn't surprise me that he did. I mean, that's so thoughtful. And as a young person and going to do this thing and going to New York, those kinds of expenses are just tough to cover.
Yeah, for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to have somebody do that. So then you get to go to Juilliard.
And then how do they assign that scholarship? Obviously, those that need the economic assistance are the candidates. But I imagine that there's some sort of is there like an act off to
Like
see,
a competition,
to see
a
who
sporting
gets
event?
it? Yeah.
Or like gladiators?
Yeah. Was there any sort of that you were aware
I've been
of?
acting off since I was like 12.
I don't think so. I mean, the first 2 years, it was a lot of, loans, like those Sally Mae loans. I borrowed so much money to try to sustain it. I was in the dorm. And then, so the scholarship went to your final 2 years.
Gotcha.
And I think it just was based on the work you had done your first 2 years. So
gotcha.
I played, I don't know, I played Arcadna and the Seagull as my final project, my second year, and it went over well with the teachers, and maybe that might have had something to do with it. I don't know, but it was a big deal.
So I'm sorry, I may have missed this. I apologize. You're one of 5 kids.
Yeah.
And was it a single mom or?
Single mom. Yeah.
Exact same situation.
No.
Yeah, 5 kids,
then-
single mom.
But in fairness,
Wow.
did your mom have 2 eyes, Jessica? Because this is where it's not oranges to oranges.
We'll allow it. Please answer the question if your mom had 2 eyes.
Were you the eldest in your family, Sean?
Youngest.
Youngest.
Yeah, she had
Wait
to
a
keep
minute,
an eye
Jessica.
on 5. Guys, I got a lot. It's been a
Wait,
year and a half.
JB,
of
did you
this.
get that text I sent you about what my sister
Yeah.
posted?
Yeah.
Did you get the one-eye crying emoji?
Well, Jessica, my
Sean's-
mom had. You go, Will.
Sean's mom had one eye her whole life, and and we've talked about it extensively on the program. But when Sean won the Tony, his sister put on Facebook, my mom, she'd be so happy she'd be crying her eye out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You either laugh or cry, Jessica.
Yeah.
You know?
That's really good.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, though. So you guys do have very sort of
wild.
similar experiences,
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
way, and then you both end up in the theater.
Yeah, that's
Well,
wild.
it's
Sean,
like-
why didn't you go to Juilliard? Jesus,
what's the
Jessica,
matter
went to-
with you?
What's wrong with you?
Because I can't spell it.
GU.
What's that feeling like when you come out? So you go to Juilliard, which is arguably like the most sort of acclaimed, certainly in America, theater school. You come out of there, or art school. You come out of there, and is the feeling like, all right, I'm just ready to go, and everything's just going to offers are going to fly at me? Like I always wonder what that experience is like coming out of an acting school in that way.
Well, I was very lucky. I got a deal. So my class was the first one to do a LA showcase. And actually, I brought it to the administration because I had come to Los Angeles the summer before the 4th year and found out that other schools were doing it. And then I really, really pushed for it. Yeah. And we got it. So by coming out here and doing the showcase, I got a deal with John Wells, and so it was very helpful. It was like right out of the bat, I had someone kind of in my corner, and then I could, do plays in New York. Like I worked at Playwrights Horizon, and I'd fly back and forth to Los Angeles to audition for his shows and whatnot. But I made that money last for like 4 years.
That's amazing because I think, Will, like what you were kind of saying is like, and to me too, growing up, you think Juilliard is the pinnacle of all, is the best of the best. And you just like idiot me just assumes every single person that graduates from Juilliard, whether it's music or art or theater or, whatever, gets a job, and is like, so it's wild to,
Yeah, like graduation day, they're like, all right, here are the parts that we're going to be handing out today.
Right, that's what
you're doing this
that's what
thing
you
for
think.
Paramount. You're going to be shooting it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jessica, I mean, like, is it? You seem like you're still very aware of your upbringings and your journey, and that you're fully appreciative of where you are, and like it. Thank God, it doesn't seem like it's lost on you that your whole life you have seen this path, you've wanted this path, you've trained for it, you've respected what it's going to take to get there, you've done everything that you should, and you've done it. I mean, you're there. You've got an Oscar. You're like one of the most respected actors in the world. Like, that's gotta feel fantastic. And I don't want to embarrass you, and I don't expect you to sort of say, yeah, it's awesome. But how about like, is your mom still with us? Are your siblings
Yes.
like?
And my grandma, I took my grandma to the Tonys the other night.
No way.
So
That's
they-
awesome.
The sweltering Tony.
She's like, when's Joseph coming out?
Are they? Do they help you take your very, very deserving smell of the roses every once in a while? 'Cause it's
Oh,
just
yes,
amazing.
completely. But also, too, I think because it doesn't feel that far away. And, a lot of my life was a little bit of like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to get there exactly, but I'm very aware of the people who've shown me a lot of kindness. And actually, Jason, I don't even think you remember.
Oh,
You
no.
took me.
I'm sorry. Let me just start with I'm sorry.
No. I'm going to talk about how kind you were.
I have addiction issues, Jessica.
No.
Jason, don't admit too much.
Okay,
yet.
sorry.
Until you know the charges.
My
you
boyfriend was
Ned Benson.
Ned Benson. So you do remember. You took me to a Dodgers game with Ned.
Yes.
And it was the first time I was like sitting there and I was like, I was so close to the players and I'd never experienced anything like that before.
When
you
was
were
this?
so kind.
This was 20 years ago?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah?
Before anyone even cared anything about anything
Or me
I
or
did.
Ned.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
Jason didn't care. He didn't even bring it up. He's been talking to you for half an hour, and you had to bring it up. How embarrassing!
You wonder if people remember things, because I
Jason,
sure
can I talk to you
don't.
for 1 second? Would you give?
You don't
This
know
is
what
an
the guest wants to
acclaimed-
talk about. It's her show.
By the way, he just did us a favor because he did. That shows a sign of respect out of Jason that he didn't just bring the Dodgers up and talk about them for 20
Oh,
minutes.
yeah.
Because he would love to do that.
Or
Anytime.
Ned. Or Ned.
Or Ned.
Love Ned.
So
Yeah.
Jessica, because of we had similar backgrounds to you, is that part of some people think it's not cool to talk about drive or ambition, but everybody has it who has even the smallest amount of success. You have to have some drive.
Yeah.
Why
So,
why does that get a bad rap? Like, you're supposed to want things in this life, yeah, and then then you get mocked for actually pursuing them.
And then if you
know.
don't, then you're called lazy and
Unmotivated and
Yeah.
entitled. Yeah.
I wonder if it's that people mistake drive ambition for ego, for like narcissism.
Right.
When in reality, like my drive and ambition comes from, we're going to get real deep here. Maybe it's comes from a sense of like wanting to be better. And maybe that also comes from my upbringing, a sense of like, I want to be better than I just want to get better every day.
Just to see how much better you can get. It's just
Yeah.
challenging yourself, right?
Right.
At least
yeah.
it's
And
for
it's
me.
not like I want it all. It's just I want to do a good job.
See if I can do more or take
Yeah.
on more.
Or
accomplish
I mean,
more.
this all falls under the heading of challenge yourself, probably, right? I mean, and if you're not, I suspect everybody here is the same in this way that, for instance, I constantly say like, I'm just going to retire. I'm just too tired and stuff. And then I think like, I couldn't do it for 6 hours because I just, it's not that I get bored, but I just want to, that's the whole purpose of life is to
That's
engage and to challenge yourself and to be constantly, right? I mean,
Yeah, and
Yes.
hopefully you're constantly in a state of having the courage to ask for more. Because oftentimes I've been in a place of, oh my God, I can't. Thank God I'm not being asked to bear any responsibility because I just don't have the ego or the confidence to take it on right now. Like I've been in that place a lot of times in my life. And if you find yourself in a place of like, no, please let the phone ring. I want the ball.
Yeah.
That's a great place to be. That's a gift and that's a positive.
Sean, do you want the ball? Or both?
We have a couple of them.
Hey, Jessica, let me ask you this, because I've been going through this lately, which is, I'm 53, and I think
You look great. You look
amazing.
great.
I was not
Will,
trying to elicit.
amazing.
Thank you. I was
Incredible
thinking
T-shirt.
there was
Can't play a day
The
over
tan.
35.
You can tell that you hang out
It's
a lot.
real.
You work out a lot.
Yeah.
it's real. The tan
Look
is
at
real.
that hairpiece. That's not a cheap one, you know?
No, this one's new, by the way. I think it works.
I can tell it.
Let me
It's
if I can.
really
I
high.
think I rotated. I forget how I get this one, but I've been having this thing lately where I'm working on stuff or doing things, and I've been able to say. I think I was saying to you, Jay, maybe the other day that, I can admit that I'm like scared, and because I'm about to do something, that is maybe out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Right.
And I think when I was a younger man, I had a tougher time admitting that, or I wasn't involved enough, or I wasn't mature enough. And I wonder if you have those things, because you do a lot of things that are very challenging, certainly when it comes to your work. Do you have those moments now as you get older where you go like, yeah, I'm scared about this, or I'm nervous? Not that you're not going to do it, but that you recognize that. Do you have that at all?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yes, I
don't care what they
definitely
think.
have. I mean, it's also the sense of, because I don't feel far away from how I grew up, I always want to feel like I'm grateful and thankful. So I don't, I find laziness who I am, I find it to be the worst trait. And I also have difficulty with lazy, if someone's super lazy, I have difficulty being around it because I feel like, wow, you could do so much. You could do, there's all these incredible things out there that you could be a part of if you just show up for yourself and show, for others. And so I have that in me where it's like, even if I'm really scared, if there's someone that believes that I can do it, I don't want to let them down, and I really want to push myself, and I don't want to allow any kind of nerves or fear, and especially with Tammy Faye, I had so much fear of like, oh my God, this is such a swing, like, and I'm gonna get made fun of. So, but this idea of like,
crushed it.
I can't like allow, and that's ego actually. If you allow your ego to stop you from doing something,
right?
Because it's all about how you're perceived.
But do you think? Yeah,
that's interesting.
But at the same time, is it ego? Is it ego? I'm actually like wondering, and maybe you guys jump in. Is it ego to acknowledge that fear?
Meaning a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, like just to go like, hey, this is something that's really challenging, and I need to, and just recognizing it. Maybe it's
I think
ego.
it would take a healthy ego to admit that something is presenting a challenge to you, and I think, but it is also that same ego that's going to be the fuel to push you through it, and that you shouldn't be nervous about the fact that you're not feeling the confidence to run into the situation, because the confidence lives on the backside of the accomplishment. It's like, no, the confidence will be there once I get through it.
So
true. That's what I'm going to earn. So don't take it as a false negative. It would be a false negative to think, oh God, I can't handle this because I'm not feeling confident going into it. The confidence lives after it, I think, for me.
For sure.
Totally.
Very well said.
If you're confident while you're doing it, I find that the work is probably bad.
Not as good,
For sure.
Anxiety is a good gas.
Yeah, when you're like, yeah, I got this, man.
Yeah, exactly. I am petrified before every single performance.
Is that
of the
true?
play. Petrified.
And it makes you great.
Well, I don't know about that, but I just like
the Tonys,
Tony winner.
No. I'm being thanks.
Makes you great.
Well, thanks, but I'm just saying it's a true.
Sean, I don't know if it does. So I'm agreeing with you, Sean.
We've seen the show.
No, but wait, I want to talk. So Jessica, like back to like when I was a kid, I'm asking you if you felt the same thing. When I was a kid, I had, my dad left and my mom was always working. She was great, but you were kind of left to parent yourself, and so you kind of are given this option of figuring this life out on your own, or kind of just taking a back seat to it. And I think that decision at some point was like, wait a minute, I have to take care of myself and figure this out for myself. So, and I've taken that into adulthood, where it's just like, and I think for better or worse, sometimes worse, I don't stop. Like I got to get food on the table. I got to eat. Because I've been there's been so many times when I didn't have food and I didn't have, so it's a fear as much as it is a drive.
Wow, we have very similar upbringings, Sean. It's crazy.
It should be noted, Sean, you feed yourself the same way you did when you were 11, which is just tuna salad, potato chips, and
macaroni
soda.
and cheese. Don't forget about the mac and
It's so
cheese.
true. It's so true. By the way, on my corner of my building, there is an ice cream truck every single day and a fruit stand. I pass that fruit stand.
Yeah. Don't even look at the poor guy. Yeah. Do you guys find, Jessica and Sean, that you're not great at asking for help? That you're not great at sort of deferring or delegating because you've had to sort of be self-sufficient for so long?
Yeah, I do. I tend to do everything, and to the point where then I get completely overwhelmed. Yeah. And I think because I was the oldest child too.
Right.
Oh yeah.
There was a sense of having to take care of my I almost said my kids, my siblings. My mom would bartend, and it would be like us there, So it was really a sense of trying to figure out, how everyone was going to be okay. So I think I also have that now, even as this is too much, and my friends are like, okay, settle down, Chastain. But I try to if someone has an issue, I'm like, okay, let's solve it. Let's figure it out. Let's, and I've had to understand that everyone has the dignity of their own process.
Yes.
And I allow them to have their own lives.
I'm so similar, and these guys can attest to it. I'm like, they're like, hey, should we? I'm on it. Yes. I'm like, I'll get it. I'll take care of it.
Sean, we'll get an email about some work thing, and it'll be like a long email that'll have maybe 12 points to it that most people would be like, Let's talk about it and think about it maybe for 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm not even going to read this email yet. Yeah.
Sean, within 5 minutes, is like, yes and no and yes, and we should do this. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, no.
And right, Sean, and I do say to Sean and I are talking, and I go, it's okay. You can just take a beat.
Yeah, I know.
Let's think about it.
Yeah.
But do
I have to
you
learn that.
do you?
No, don't, because it's so helpful that you answer
It
all
is the
these
best.
emails.
No, I
You're
love
the
that
greatest.
you do that. Yeah.
Now, what about I like to ask actors that have had the pleasure of working with so many incredible directors if there's any desire to direct because you've been exposed to so much great directing and perhaps has armed you with sort of cherry picking a bunch of different techniques that you'd want to see what you could do?
Yeah, I mean, I've had thoughts about doing it, especially when I've met, there's certain actors that I've met, and I was like, oh, I really want to do something for this person. And I've thought about, or like, I've never seen a story about this before, and I would love to tell that story. And then I think about, well, wait a minute, when you're directing, it's going to take you 1.5 years of your life. Where I usually make like 5 films in
Right.
that time. You know, and so
It's a pay cut.
yeah.
Yeah.
And not even necessarily just that. It's also that maybe I have a sense of, in the same way of my personal life, I feel like I have to do everything. I want to do everything. Wow, what's it going to be when I really have to be like, I'm only allowed to do this one thing for
Right.
so long?
Yeah, Jay, actually, this goes to both of you, Jessica and Jason. Because Jay, you do that when you take a year to go and work on a film and direct it, do you miss getting that variety? And Jessica, on the backside of that is, you say you would do 5 films. Is that something that you like that constant change and that kind of, that you're working on a film for 3 months and then you're working on something completely different for another 3 months? Is that something that's you're cognizant of?
You go, Jessica.
I trained in repertory theater, so I love the idea, and it would be amazing also in theater to be able to do this, where you're one night you're one part, and the next night you're another part. Maybe
Philip
not even in the
Seymour,
same.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, and remember
Jesse
that?
Riley for
Yeah.
That
you
would
saw
be
that
cool.
too. We are theater nerds.
Yeah,
I
No,
wish
but
I'd
even
seen
like
that.
doing different plays, like having an ensemble, and then like every night you get to do something else. I feel like that was the hard part for me of being on this run for so long. It was the constant sense of like, this is the journey. I'm on this journey every day, and it would be nice to kind of go on the flip side of say like, okay, now maybe on Tuesdays I get to do this kind of thing and explore something else.
Well, for you and for Sean, did you guys ever get, and Sean, you're still in the midst of it, you ever get to the point where it's feeling so monotonous that you are very deliberate about making tonight different? Like, I'm going to play this scene jealous instead of insecure, or I'm going to like a completely different energy and not tell any of the other actors, but just pace and intention and everything just still works.
Well, I think the actors would really appreciate that.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be a 180, but something that is just change
The
stuff
look
up.
from your fellow actor, like on stage, like, hey,
are you
man, what the
doing?
fuck are you? You're painting me in a corner here, man. Yeah. But Jay, do you miss that?
Do I?
I mean, do you miss the variety? Do you miss that change when you're working on a film for a year?
Yeah, no, because I geek out on all the processes of directing, prep and post and all that stuff. But I feel like if I was on stage doing the same part for months on end, I would probably screw things up a little bit on purpose, or start to get excited about, who's going to forget a line tonight,
Yeah. Because you miss that, like, you miss getting that, like, you could say it here if you want the quote, you like to get strange.
I like to get
some strange.
Yeah.
Get some
Strange.
strange. When it comes to work.
We got it.
When it comes to
Yes.
work, don't be an animal, dude.
What about Jessica? What about that? What Jason was saying?
I've worked with someone who is like that. It's frustrating to work with someone. I mean, on film, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Do you know what I've like with actors where you're like, it's still the same scene, but there's all these, we're discovering new paths through the scene, and who knows where the take's going to go. That's exciting. But I feel like when the show is set, it's set. And
Too disruptive.
yeah, I would. sometimes when someone's done it, it feels kind of almost self-serving. Because it's like, well, wait a minute, there's still a whole other journey we have to go on, and now you've kind of taken out this marker. How are we going to get there?
That would be a fun war to watch if you were privy to it by being another cast member, and you can watch two. Like, oh,
it happens
a
lot.
She just saw that he's trying to do a 180 on this thing. Oh,
Yes.
and now she's gonna double that 180.
Yeah.
And then who chastises an actor? The stage manager?
Yeah, usually.
They're sort of the cop. It's ongoing, right? Because I don't think the listener knows this, but if you start messing around with the dialogue, you get like reported to Equity, and Equity can fine you if you start messing around with changing lines and stuff like that.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Isn't there? I think the stage manager is like obligated to report you if you start going rogue and changing stuff.
It sounds like you've snitched before, Jason. You know the thing about snitches. You know what they get.
What happened? What
snitches get stitches, bro.
Oh shit!
No. Sorry, go ahead, Jessica. What happened? You found out?
No, I found out. I was talking to the director, and he said that every night he gets a report. He got a report because we closed, where it was like even like when an actor coughs, it said when the actor coughed.
I know. They write down every single thing that happens in every show.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
And the producers get to read it, yeah.
Yeah, so you're very aware. I mean, it's tough sometimes because I do find like there's a misconception about acting where someone's like, okay, the more different they are each take, the better actor they are because they're so alive, you know? And so I think people are trying to be sometimes make things alive and exciting but they don't realize in theater that can be disruptive.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and in film too. And Jay, you've been through this. I've certainly been through this in post, where you're like, "Hey, did this guy ever do one fucking take where he held the thing the same way 2 times?"
Oh yeah,
you're killing me. I can't get out. I can't edit this scene. What is he doing?
But it's okay, like Jay, to what you were saying. I think it's okay in a play to play within the choices that are locked.
Yes.
You know, within the play that is locked, you can experiment, but not enough to throw. Like there's this great, John Drzezinski who plays George Gershwin in our play. He's brilliant. Everybody's brilliant in the show, but he's so great at playing within the locked thing. He's brilliant. And one night, it almost made me laugh. He goes, Aki, Oscar, who wants to hear your music, right? And I say, he's a vision in my head. He's a ghost, the ghost of Gershwin. And I say, lots of folks, that's who. And he goes, and the line is, who? Your wife, the kid in the lab coat, right? And one night he goes, out of nowhere, he goes, who wants to hear your own music? I go, lots of folks, that's who. And he goes, who? You got your wife, you got your kid in the lab coat, and then he just goes like this.
Right.
And it almost made me die laughing.
Oh my God!
But it was good because it was within the realm of the character. But like he was listening to him, he goes, "Okay, your wife,
sure,
the kid in the lab coat," and I was,
Yeah.
You know, Michael Shannon's really good at that too.
Yeah.
You know, I've worked with him a lot, and I'm mostly on camera, so he doesn't go. He's in working with him is like it's like kind of working with an animal because you're like, what is he going to do? Yeah. But it's always within the structure, and he comes from theater as well.
Yeah,
and it's really like it's amazing when you're working with an actor who knows where the story has to be the most important. It's not yourself. That's what it is. It's about whether or not you're selfish. Because if you're changing it for yourself because you want to feel something new or you're bored, that's not appropriate. But if you're telling, you have to tell the story that everyone's there to tell.
Exactly.
I killed Michael Shannon in a movie once. In a movie once. Yeah.
With a gun?
No. I stabbed him in the throat.
Oh.
You stabbed Michael Shannon in the throat?
In the throat in Let's Go to Prison 20 years ago with the Michael
God, that's right.
Bob Odenkirk.
Right.
How did he take that?
Like a man.
He took it pretty well. I remember Bob being like, okay, so Michael, oh my God, so you're just going to grab. I'm like, wait, how are we going to do this scene? Like, Michael is so scary. He's the best actor. He's such a great guy. But I was like, I have to stab him in the throat. And he did all the work. I just kind of did the motion. He was just incredible.
A bunch of apologizing before the scene.
He was the best. I feel like we'll be remiss if we don't ask it. I'm going to ask, usually Sean at this point has already asked. You've done so much theater.
Oh, yes.
What's your favorite nightmare theater? How did you not ask Jessica Chastain?
How have I not asked that question?
Oh, God.
You
My
have to
favorite
have a story.
nightmare story that happened to me on stage?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I can say it now because we're close. This is really gross.
Great.
I'm going to tell you guys.
Grosser the better.
I threw up.
Wow.
What? Wait,
In a doll's house?
I threw up and I swallowed it.
Oh, God. Atta girl.
no way.
And no one knew. And then
Because of what? Because of acid reflux or something?
No, it's a
I
bad
don't-
performance
I
from your
was like,
co-star.
I-
What's his name?
and then from then on, I was like, I'm not eating within 3 hours of the show. I'm not
Same.
drinking water. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wait, what happened?
I don't know if I was nervous. I was like kind of like sobbing, and I like leaned over, and it happened. And then for the rest, and I was like, oh my God, you can't let it out of your mouth. And then for the rest of the show, I couldn't tell anyone because I was on a chair
they
facing
knew.
the audience the
Do
whole
you
time.
have any intimate scenes after that?
I had to kiss someone.
Sure.
No. No.
Yes, it was a nightmare, and I couldn't explain. And then the second we had the curtain call, and the curtain came down, I said, "You guys, I'm so sorry. I vomited."
That's so crazy because Jason, didn't you ever think for a long time that women would barf after they kissed you? Right?
Yes. Yeah. Which is better.
Yeah, I guess.
But
Jessica, that's
funny.
insane. That's crazy.
was it? Can I ask? Was it an open mouth kiss that you had to do on stage?
No, that night it was definitely a closed mouth kiss.
Well,
I mean,
but
it's
he
supposed to
didn't
be
know.
kind of like, it wasn't a sensual, it wasn't like a
Right.
really sexy, like
Right.
we're about to sleep,
Yeah.
But it was, a sensual kiss that was,
Yes.
and that night I was like, oh, I mean, even talking to anyone, I was just so.
I
my God.
I have to in the show. I have to scream in front of this guy, Peter Gross, who's also brilliant in the show.
Yeah.
And we get in a screaming match, and we're literally nose to nose. And one night, I don't know what happened. It was just like a couple weeks ago. So much saliva came spewing from my mouth. It was all over his face as I'm screaming at him. And then that night after, he was so sweet about it. He goes, "Hey, can I talk to you about that one?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Is there any way that you could spit just a little less when we argue?" I was like, "Absolutely, absolutely." He was so sweet about it.
It was
though.
like a tick explosion, right?
Yeah, but it's really funny because it's obviously not something you had control over. It wasn't like
Right.
you thought, like, oh, I'm going to really go to town and
No, it was that- but
saliva
he-
all over his face tonight.
No, but he was right. I actually can control it now. Now that he's brought it up, I actually figured it out.
Let me ask you, if he hadn't brought it up,
Yeah.
would you have continued doing it?
Great question.
Spitting that much?
Yeah.
Probably not. I know what he meant. I know what he meant. It was like, it was like spitting
Oh my
everywhere.
God, poor guy's covered in sloppy Joe and chin chin. Sean, you get chin chin flown out. Sorry, go ahead, Jason. You have a
Absolutely.
question.
I was just going to ask Jessica, now that the show is done, you're going to take some time off. I would assume you're going to start doing the thing you're second best at, which is probably as good, probably a lot of parenting. But like, what about what is there a hobby? Is there something that we would be surprised to learn that you're almost as
Do you
good
knit
at?
backstage?
No, I'm not
No?
good at anything else. That's the
Come
terrible
on,
thing.
that's not true.
I mean, I have a production company, and
That doesn't count. We're
Yeah,
talking
it
about
doesn't count. It's something that's outside
non-business,
the
like
industry.
We're talking
a
about
hobby,
pickleball.
painting,
Cooking, baking.
okay, I went to cooking school.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I went to school. So after Zero Dark 30, I was like, I want to do something completely different. I went to cooking school.
And
So I'm good. I'm a good cook.
what
I'll
kind
probably
of
do
cooking?
that.
What kind of cooking? Was it? It's
like
like
I like- I
saucy
make-
stuff.
I love the kind of, I like roasting, and I like the kind of cooking that the whole house, it's like a slow cook situation. So for hours, it'll be like the smell of something like I love poached pears with sweet potato ice cream and
Ooh,
that kind of
that
stuff.
sounds good.
Yeah.
You make the ice cream?
Yeah.
Really?
I like the fall cooking.
Right.
That kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's starting to get cold outside.
Yeah.
And then the house.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Wait a minute. Wait, you make ice cream? I'm always fascinated. Like, how do
In
they
an
make-
ice cream maker. I mean, it's very easy.
Oh, I got to get one of those.
Oh, you do? It's so easy. It takes 30
Sean,
minutes.
I wouldn't. That sounds like a real slippery slope
Yeah,
for you.
dude. Come on.
It sounds kind of
I mean,
interesting.
legitimately.
Yeah.
We're going to have to cut you out of your house at some point. Hey, Jessica, I think that you should do like a food line. I think, or like cookbooks or something. I think it'd be pretty massive.
You
Yep.
think so?
Sure.
Yeah.
I do.
Just fall cooking
Yeah.
with
All right.
with Jessie-Boo.
Jessie-Boo.
Yeah, that's your
I
title.
love it.
Okay.
I don't know that it would be super interesting to watch, especially if it'd be like a 4-hour show where you're just like, let's look at it in the oven.
No, but if
It's
you
a
did,
slow
but if
roast.
you did like a book, if you did like a cookbook and did some
Yeah.
stuff and did a line of food, I think it would do real well.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe that's my second chapter.
Yeah.
And you could call it like juke, right? JOOC. Kind of like goop, but
Juke. After talking about vomiting
I was just gonna
on the
say.
stage, I can open with that and then say,
Yeah.
listen, it's so good you could. No, I don't even.
oh my God.
It's
My
so
cookie's
good
so
you
good
can
you
eat
can eat it twice. There you go. We've got it.
Oh my God! Listen, we have monopolized. I've just realized we could just keep talking, but we're
We could
crushing
keep
you in
going.
time, and you need to go on vacation.
Yeah.
Thank you for visiting with us, Jessica.
Yeah, Jessica,
Of course,
thank
you
you
guys.
so much.
I was so happy to when I got asked to do this. I of course listened to the Kate Blanchett one, and
Oh, yeah.
I love how
Yeah.
much y'all tease Sean for being as equally as theater nerdy as
He's
all
such
of
a
us.
good
Yeah.
guy.
I love
With a
it.
big smile.
I
He's
live
not
it.
just theater nerdy; he's everything nerdy, as it turns out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if you
You
haven't
have any
heard-
Star Wars questions for him?
Yeah. I love it.
Or
I
Star
would
Trek?
love it.
Or Battlestar Galactica?
any of the stars. Although I will say this. This is what I wanted to ask you before I let you go. Bring up Star Wars and stuff. You've done a few. I'm going to say science fiction, not really, but in that realm. I mean, Interstellar, Martian, some of the bigger ones that
Interstellar.
fall. Right?
Loved Interstellar.
I mean,
I did
I know,
too.
me too. We were just saying yesterday how much it's my 14-year-old's favorite film. He's seen it 30 times. Do you like that genre? Because you've done a bunch on the highest level.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, after I did Interstellar, I got to work with Kip Thorne on that, which was amazing. And like even trying to, at the end, like writing the equation and all that stuff, that was obviously a lot of work to try to look like that was believable at all. But then when I finished that, and Ridley Scott came up to me and approached me about doing The Martian, I said, yeah, here's my thing though. If I sign on, I want to go to space camp. And he goes, there's no really adult space camp. And I was like, well, we can make one. So I went to Houston.
I want to do this.
To NASA in Houston, and I went to JPL, and I saw like the rovers.
I've been there,
I saw-
yes,
It's
same.
amazing.
Amazing.
And I did like the whole virtual reality where
Yes.
you're on Mars.
On Mars, you can walk. Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I did the same thing.
Yeah, and so I was really like, I'm excited to do things, but who knows what the film or the project's going to be when it finishes. But I just want to know that the experience of making something is going to be enriching in some way to my life. And so,
Right.
so that was really, I mean, if someone wants to give me another sci-fi space movie, I don't know. I'm into
Are you a
what else
fan of
can I
the
learn?
genre? Like, are you like Star Wars, Star Trek, anything like that?
No.
No. Okay. Oh, Jessica, thank you so
I mean,
much for
I am
being
when it's
here.
based in reality. I am
Sean
when
hates
it's.
you now.
Sean, are you crying?
Sorry, Sean.
Yeah, Sean,
Sorry.
get it
Sean's
together.
in
I know. I
tears.
did. My very good friend Oscar Isaac did all the Star, and you know, I'm not. I like it when it's when it feels like it's happening
Right.
or it's real.
Tangible.
Well, don't worry,
Yeah.
Jessica. I'm not a huge fan. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But I like Game of Thrones, and there's dragons there, so I'm all over
Good.
the place.
That works for me.
Sure.
That works for me.
The great Jessica Chastain. Thank you so,
great-
so
thank you
much
for
for
being
joining
here.
us.
Thanks, guys.
what a
So
pleasure.
good to
Wonderful
see you.
surprise.
Great to see you again.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jessica.
All right, what do I do? Do I cover my
Just-
mic? Do I get out of here?
Just slam
can
it shut
slam
if you
your
want, whatever you
laptop.
want.
Bye, guys.
honey.
Congratulations, Sean.
Okay,
thank you
thank
so
you,
much
honey.
for this.
Bye,
Thank
Jessica.
you.
Thanks. Wow.
Well,
I know.
you classed it up a little bit there,
Class
Willie.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well
I mean,
done.
what a surprise. I mean, I just literally saw her yesterday or 2 days ago.
2 months ago.
2 months ago, Sean. This is delayed.
It's wild. I just saw
How
her
many
2 months
times
ago.
do I need
Yeah.
to go through this?
You're going to love show business.
I mean,
How funny, right, Sean, that we had Jessica because you guys spent so much time. You saw her all the time.
So much time
back
together,
in the day
yeah.
over on Broadway.
always saw her. Always. She was always so pleasant, always so sweet. And, I fanned out.
She's so, I get it. Who wouldn't fan out? She's so accomplished and she's so good at what she does.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, back to that Juilliard thing, you do always think, I always just think you're set. If you
Yeah.
go to Juilliard, you're
Yeah.
set. And like, she's one of those people that made that happen.
What a talent. What
I
a
know,
talent.
and
have you
that's
seen, sorry, I just wanted, I cut you off, but did you see George and Tammy?
No.
The thing we were talking with her and Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I know. It's about Tammy Wynette and George Jones.
Yeah, and she
Yeah,
is.
I wanna see it.
They're both so good in it, so good, and so such unbelievable talent, and it's really, really, really good. Obviously,
and the season 1 already happened. I think it's season 2's coming out or something, and I want to catch up.
I don't know. It's amazing, and just I don't know. Anyway, she what a delight.
Yeah, easy. She seems like easy to hang out with too.
Sean, and I loved how much you and she have sort of a similar trajectories in that
Isn't
way.
that wild?
Yeah,
I had no
really
idea.
cool.
We didn't really get into it on when I saw her. Like there was never time to like, how was your childhood? Until.
Oh, you mean when you were doing like press stuff for your plays, you weren't like, hey, did you also have 5 brothers and sisters, and did you grow up with a single like?
Yeah, we didn't get into that. No.
Well, that would have been weird, dude.
I know.
Maybe if you just done the small effort of walking across the street or next door and seen her fucking show.
I wish I could, but
you could have because you had.
Well,
you had
now
the
she
down
can see
nights.
yours.
No, you had Tuesday nights, and you could have.
I did have Tuesday nights off, but I wanted.
And you
them
could
to
have
my-
gone.
Yeah,
And
what
you
were you
did
doing
it.
on Tuesday
Look.
nights aside from just warming donuts in your toaster oven?
One of the
When
one
was
of
the
the
last time
themes.
you warmed? Be honest. Warmed a donut.
When's the last time you cut a donut open, right? You just butterflied it, scooped it, and toasted it in your toaster oven.
By the way, how good does that sound?
Sometimes there's donuts at work. Sometimes people bring donuts, and you do the half thing where you just, I'm just gonna eat half. I promise
No,
I eat
I
half.
know,
And then
I
a
know.
half hour
This is
later, you
just-
come
this
back.
Oh, when
doesn't
they're flipped
count.
open and there's a plastic knife left in there and people just cut little pieces off it.
Yeah. And then the same person comes back and just finishes
Comes
it.
back
and
5 times.
That's why in
Five
Canada
pieces.
we got the Timbits, eh?
Oh,
'Cause,
sure.
Yeah. If you're gonna
Well,
go to
Timmy
Timmy's,
Horton, he's just
Timmy
got
Hortons.
these great donuts.
I used to eat at Tim Hortons all the time.
Oh, they're so good, eh?
So good. The
fucking get
sandwiches, the
some.
turkey
Give her-
sandwiches.
Yeah. Honestly, the thing is, what's great about
comes
the
a bite.
Timbit,
Here comes a bite. Here comes a bite.
it's just you don't have to eat the whole thing. It's just one bite. SmartLess is 100% organic and artisanally handcrafted by Michael Grant Terry, Rob Armjarv, and Bennett Barbaco.
SmartLess.
This episode was recorded on June 13th.
I'm Rex Chapman, and these days, most people know me for trolling weirdos on the internet, which is fun. But believe it or not, I had a whole career before that, playing basketball in the NBA.
Chapman, three-pointer, outside, good!
I played for 4 teams over 12 years in the league, alongside so many incredible players. But no matter where I went, there was one guy on every team who was totally untouchable. That was the owner. Plenty of fans don't even know who owns their team, who's making the backroom deals and moving players around like pieces on a game board. But every week on Owned, we're going to take the fancy elevator, sneak past security, and find out what it means to be a power player in the big leagues of pro sports.
I said, I keep giving them money, but they keep getting the same result.
The family is like the wealthy but unsexy Kardashians.
Follow Owned wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen early and ad-free on the Amazon Music or Wondery app.